Okay, hello everybody. My name's Michael Wright and I'm the canine behaviourist. I'm trying to view various avenues to get to my audience, so I'm going to have a go at YouTube and see how I get on with that. Now, I'll pop up every now and again with a specific topic. Today, I want to talk about nervous dogs. I still see an awful lot of dogs that are nervous. They're labelled as being reactive, aggressive, frightened of this, petrified of that, don't like people, won't go near people, bark at dogs, they're excessively lungy, you name it, they do it. So I really would like to see more situations as depicted in the picture behind me where dogs are interacting normally. They are experiencing life as dogs without fear or showing any signs of worry or aggression, etc. Now, there's an awful lot we can do to help them there, but we quite often get it wrong. And we get it wrong really because we don't fully understand what's going on with our dogs. We're not doing it deliberately. It's you only know what you know. So I want to go with the view that we can get the dogs to enjoy their lives as I've depicted there. But the guys I want to talk about at the moment are these. Now these guys, as you can see from this picture, that's a dog that's quite worried, scared. The ears are pinned back a little, the eyes look very, very worried indeed, and the dog is quite cowed. Now, of course, there are many reasons for this. We'll never really understand all of them, particularly if it's a rescue dog, because you don't really know what's gone on in a rescue dog's life. But often it's something that's occurred, it's something that we've done to them, or it's something that they've experienced and we've not dealt with it in the right way. So let's talk a little bit about the fearful dog, like the one depicted behind me, the fearful dog. It's, as I say, very common. So you've all seen these. You'll see a dog that barks apparently aggressively at people, at other dogs, anything that goes near it. You'll see the dogs that are lunging towards people or animals or children or cyclists or cars. You'll see them cowering, literally hiding behind the owner, or shoving themselves up close to the owner, looking very worried, or literally hiding behind the owner's legs. I've seen all of these things, as many of you will have done, of course. But there's usually something we can do about it. I'll give you an example. This scenario I come across frequently, and I usually handle it in pretty much the same way with pretty much the same results. Not always, but most of the time. So I met a lady with 3 dogs. There was one dog that was a small pug that was a bit bullshied, a bit over the top. He's only a year old, so he's sort of feeling his way a little bit. But he wasn't a problem. None of them were a real problem. But one of them was very timid, and this was about 6 or 7 year old little spaniel, very timid. And the lady said this to me. She said, "Oh, he's frightened of dogs, and he's frightened of people. He won't go to anybody." And I said, "Could I just have a little chat with him?" And she said, "Yeah, but he won't do anything." I said, "Can I give him a little biscuit if he'd like one?" "No, he won't take anything from people at all, you know." And I'm not encouraging you to feed other people's dogs, but some of the things I do actually help the dog to understand that we needn't be a threat. A lot of these dogs are perceiving threats that don't exist. They think something's going to happen and it doesn't. And it's not made any better because we, the owners, we tend to make it worse by reacting to their reactions, if you like, to the way they're behaving. So if a little dog's frightened, quite often you'll see the owner literally pick the dog up and give it a cuddle and say, there, it's okay. You know, well, no, I'm sorry, it's not okay, because what you're doing with that dog is you are actually saying to that dog, yeah, you're right to feel like that. You're right to be worried, and I'm going to cuddle you. I'm going to protect you. You actually strengthen that fearful feeling in that dog. Now, really, what we should be doing is the entire opposite. We should be trying to, the technical term is desensitize. So we should be trying to desensitize the dog to understand that in certain situations it needn't worry, it can relax, and we're going to help it do that. So back to the little spaniel. Pardon me, I'm just supping a bit of a drink here. So the little spaniel, who's afraid of everything, I get a little treat and put it in my hand, a little biscuit, a little doggy biscuit, a little snippet. I'm not going to make people's dogs fat. And my standard method of doing this is I get down quite low. Now, I wouldn't recommend everybody do this. I've been doing this a long time, so I can gauge a dog, and I know what's going to be occurring, what that dog's likely to do. So I've got the treat in my hand. I'm on my haunches, low down. So I'm doing a couple of things here. I'm saying to the dog, you don't need to worry about me. I'm not this big towering thing that's leaning over you. I'm down at your level almost, and I'm not a threat, and I'm also not pushing myself towards the dog. I'm not forcing myself upon the dog. So I crouch down. I've got my hand open like that with a little treat just sitting in it, and I'm talking to the owner. I'm not talking to the dog. I'm not even looking at the dog, not really. I've got the dog in the corner of my eye just to keep an eye on what he's actually doing. And I should think 99% of the time the following then happens. The dog looks at me. It thinks, well, hang on a second. There's nothing happening here. And I really would like that treat. This is technically bribery. You're tempting the dog with a treat. And I'll come on to that in a little while, because that bribery is the thing I really don't like to see used. And there's a lot of people, particularly you see it in the papers, you see it on YouTube, you'll see quite a lot of people dealing with issues of a dog that they call reactive by basically bribing it. So you feed it lots of treats to distract it from whatever's worrying it, as opposed to getting it used to what's worrying it, which is a better way of doing things. So the dog then comes up, takes the treat off me, and the lady now is amazed. She thinks I'm some sort of a magician. Well, I'm not, of course. I just understand what the dog's doing and why it's doing it. So I do it one more time. Now this time I just touch the dog very gently under its chin, because it allows me to do so, and it is quite relaxed. And after a minute or two, it's now just wandering around me and saying hello to my dog Ziggy, and it's coming to me, sniffing my hand, wondering if I might have another little treat, which I haven't now, and I'm not going to give the dog another treat. But I just talk quietly in a gentle tone to the dog and give it a very gentle stroke, very minimal, and that's it. That's the end of the interaction. But what we've done there, we've done a huge amount for that dog. That dog is now beginning to think, actually, when I meet a strange person or I meet a strange dog, sometimes nice things happen. So you just need to reproduce that a few times. Have somebody, if they're amenable, maybe they're walking their own dog, or maybe they like to give your dog a bit of a treat. Carry something that's of high value to the dog, something that they don't get that often, maybe a bit of cooked chicken or a little bit of ham or anything like that, and give it to the stranger and just say, could you just hold it out so the dog can come and do exactly what I've just done. You don't need necessarily do the crouching down, and you'd be amazed that dog will get over that worry quite quickly by repetition. And it begin with, my wife works in mental well-being, and she works with people with quite serious PTSD and mental health issues. And it's a bit like rewiring the brain, if you like. We're creating different pathways in the dog's brain to say, actually, this route's much better than that route. So that's the way we should be dealing with dogs that are behaving in that manner. Okay. Let me just go back to treats for a second. Treats, I think, are being misused quite widely now by a lot of people. There's a lot of trainers out there that use treats, I think, inappropriately. Think of a treat as a reward, okay? And a reward, you get a reward when you do something, and then the treat is a reward for having done something, not the other way around. You don't give the dog a treat, then get it to do something. So it's no good me saying to the dog, here's a lovely treat, oh, and sit. What I do is keep a treat hidden out of my way if I'm going to be using a treat. I don't always use a treat. Might be just praise, might be a play with a toy. I get the dog to sit, and then, and only then, do I reward the dog, and the dog is able to see I've now got a reward for it. Now, the dog I've just highlighted, the way a lot of people are promoting the correct way of doing it, and I couldn't disagree more strongly, is if you've got a dog that's reacting in a certain way, so the dog's barking at other dogs or barking at other people, and frankly people are embarrassed, dog owners are embarrassed, and they either tell the dog off, or they yank it away, or do something that's really not quite appropriate. So they're being asked by trainers and behaviourists and people that aren't necessarily that well that strong in understanding what they're doing, to use treats. And the way they use the treats are to get a handful of treats, and they distract the dog. So if the dog, let's say, is walking along the street and it sees another dog on the other side of the road, and its normal behaviour is to lunge and bark and growl or whatever it's doing to the dog, this particular theory says, oh, well, of course, we'll distract the dog. And the way we distract the dog is by giving it treats. So you keep shoveling treats into this dog, and it'll keep paying attention to it if you're shoveling it treats, until whatever's causing the problem has passed by. Well, okay, you might have stopped the dog barking or lunging or whatever, but you've not cured the problem. You've not tried to address that problem whatsoever. You've circumvented it, and you've tried to sidestep the problem. The idea is you deal with the problem so it doesn't happen. And you do that by desensitizing a dog. So the way I would handle that, and the way I would recommend handling that, is you calm the dog down. And there's a whole process before you even get to this. It's a bit too long to go into here, but you can calm a dog down. You get it used to different environments and different things. So the principle here is, let's say you've got a dog that does exactly what we just described, lunges and barks, and whenever it sees any dogs walking by. So the key to this, and for it to really sink in and for the dog to really get it, is you don't respond and you don't react. So for instance, that dog's lunging and pulling. I'm not going to talk to it. I'm not going to pull it away. I'm just going to hold the lead calmly and quietly, and I'm going to wait for the dog to stop barking and lunging. And trust me, they will do. They will do. Now, as soon as the dog stops the lunging and the barking, that's when I'm going to step in and reward the dog. Tell the dog what a good dog it is. You know, fantastic. It's the best thing you've ever done. And you give it a little bit of a treat. But you never reward the dog while it's exhibiting the behaviour you're trying to adjust. Doesn't work like that. That's bribery. Doesn't work. So I'd strongly recommend not using distraction. I would strongly recommend using rewards for the behaviour we're looking for. I don't call it good behaviour, I'd call it the appropriate behaviour, because the dog that's lunging and barking at everything it sees, yes, it might be aggressive, more likely to be a bit fearful and a bit worried, particularly when it's attached to its owner. And dogs are very tuned to body language. If you start to show worry and concern whenever you're approaching another dog or another creature, trust me, these guys pick it up. So the more proactive we can be in almost not doing anything but rewarding the dog when it doesn't do something, you'd be surprised at how good the results are likely to be. However, there's no magic button with this. You have to take your time and work carefully at it. You can't overload a dog. You can't make it and force it to do what you want to do. But if you do it in the right way, as I've touched upon there, you can have quite dramatic results. So from having this little guy like that, we can go and find ourselves into the picture behind me. Dogs that are enjoying other dogs, enjoying being out and enjoying their environment. Okay, it's very, very important. And it's not rocket science, but it does require us to understand why our dogs are behaving in a certain way and doing certain things. Okay, that's all I'm going to talk about today. It's one of my favourite topics, actually, because I just see so much of it. And little things can make a big impact in this particular area. Now, you can find me on my website. There's a blog attached to that. I write all sorts of stuff all about dogs and behaviour, etc. I can help your dog via video consultations. These days, particularly with the COVID situation, it's not a good idea to visit homes. I can't visit homes, but I can help people out and about. But I can help people anywhere over a video connection. You can send me videos of your dogs doing certain things. I would then ask you to go to my site and fill in a fairly large questionnaire, which gives me a lot of information, and I can help you with your dogs remotely without any problem. I'll also send you lots and lots of written homework, if you like, and materials to help you understand why your dog's doing something, if it's not appropriate and we want to change its behaviour, how we might go about doing it. So I think that's all I want to say for now. Those who watch this later on, thank you, and thank you for taking a moment or two to spend a little time listening to me whittering on. I hopefully will have the ability to live chat if people tune in. And I'll try and answer your questions as we talk as best I can. I can't do a full-blown consultation, obviously, that takes me a couple hours, but I can certainly steer you in certain directions and give you short answers to various things, and I'm happy to do that. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll be back again soon. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.